Two men, one ring. No cameras rolling. No mercy. No tomorrow. The summer of 1973 in Hong Kong is a pressure cooker. The air itself sweats. While the world counts down to enter the dragon like it's the second coming, a war erupts behind the scenes that no lens will ever capture. Yet every soul who stood in that humid haze still hears the thud of flesh on flesh in their nightmares. Bruce Lee, the philosopher who weaponized time, a 141-pound lightning bolt who could punch through a man's guard before the thought of defense formed. Bolo Yeung, the living siege tower, 220 pounds of vein-lashed granite, a bodybuilder whose casual flex could eclipse the moon and whose single strike carried the promise of shattered worlds. They were scripted to collide in a 12-minute apocalypse on film, speed devouring strength, water eroding stone, philosophy humiliating tradition. But in a sterile Burbank screening room, executives with trembling scissors murdered the scene. So the gods of combat cleared a private arena, lit by a single swinging bulb, and whispered, "Now, tonight, on Tales of the Famous, we drag you into that sacred darkness. You'll smell the liniment, taste the copper in the air, feel the mat tremble beneath your feet. We'll walk every second of that forbidden sparring session until your pulse syncs with theirs. Stay until the final breath, because the knockout blow was delivered not by a fist, but by the cruelest executioner of all, time itself." Late June 1973. The Golden Harvest backlit is a living organism. Generators growl. Fans whirl uselessly against the humidity. Bruce Lee, 32 and already immortal, stalks the choreography mat in mirrored aviators that reflect infinite futures. His voice slices through the chaos in rapid Cantonese, correcting a stuntman's elbow by a single degree that could mean life or death on screen. Veins map his forearms like lightning frozen mid-flash, every muscle fiber humming with purpose. 20 feet away stands Bolo Yeung, shirtless, a colossus poured from molten iron and cooled into a nightmare of symmetry. Oil sheens across pectorals that rise and fall like tectonic plates. When he exhales, the overhead fluorescents flicker as if bowing. The man is a walking intimidation, 220 pounds of sculpted menace, thighs like bridge pilings, biceps that peak at 22 inches cold. His presence warps the air around him. Bruce had bled his soul into the storyboards for 12 relentless minutes. He envisioned Jeet Kune's liquid mercury flowing around Hung Gar's avalanche, speed as the ultimate predator of mass, adaptability carving tradition into surrender. Panel after panel unfolded like a sacred text. Panel 47, Bruce feints high, drops low, unleashes the 1-inch punch dead center into Bolo's solar plexus. The impact ripples outward like a sonic boom in miniature, a shockwave that would register on seismographs. Panel 48, Bolo absorbs it, grins through the agony, blood flecking his teeth, and counters with a downward palm strike that would pulverize a cinder block into dust. Panel 49, Bruce twists mid-air, lands cat-like, hair barely ruffled, already circling for the next impossible angle. This was to be the film's philosophical core, a sequence to eclipse even the mirror room finale, to leave audiences gasping at the sheer audacity of human possibility. Bruce saw it as proof. The smallest blade, wielded with perfect timing, fells the mightiest oak. But fear is a cowardly editor. Test screenings in California whispered confusion. Housewives clutched pearls. Executives demanded simplicity, one clear villain to hate. Overnight, Bolo's role shrank to a footnote in the margins of history. His dialogue, 3 guttural grunts, and a menacing stare that lasted 0.8 seconds. The epic clash vanished from the script like smoke in a typhoon, erased by trembling hands in a far-off boardroom. Bruce received the news in the production office, script pages trembling in his grip like wounded sparrows. He tore the revised pages clean in half, the sound sharp as a guillotine dropping. His eyes behind the mirrored lenses blazed with a fury that could have powered the colony for a week. "They're scared of truth," he hissed, voice low and lethal. "They want a cartoon. We'll give them reality." Bolo stood outside the door, a silent sentinel carved from obsidian, sweat carving slow rivers down the valleys between his abs. He said nothing. He simply rolled his shoulders until the tendons popped like bridge cables under strain, each crack echoing like a warning shot. To truly grasp the seismic weight of what unfolded next, we must travel backward through time, across oceans and ideologies, to witness two boys forging themselves into living weapons beneath skies that could not have been more different. San Francisco, November 27, 1940. A premature whale slices the fog of Chinatown's Chinese hospital. Bruce Jun Fan Lee enters the world feet first, already kicking against destiny's script. His father, Lee Hoi Chen, a celebrated Cantonese opera star, drags the toddler on stage at age 6 to play moralistic urchins in flowing robes. Bruce learns timing, projection, and the intoxicating roar of applause before he learns long division. He absorbs rhythm like oxygen, every gesture a performance, every glance a calculation. Hong Kong, 1953. 13-year-old Bruce, scrawny, defiant, mouthier than a dockside parrot, takes a wrong alley behind the Star Ferry Pier. Three triad wannabes corner him with bicycle chains glinting like venomous fangs and switchblades hungry for flesh. He fights like a cornered alley cat, loses 2 teeth in a spray of blood, but leaves one attacker sobbing over a wrist bent at an impossible angle. He limps home through neon rain, fire in his eyes, Knuckles already dreaming of revenge. That night, he pounds on Yip Man's door until the old Wing Chun master relents, the sound echoing like a heartbeat in the humid dark. Teach me, Sifu. I need to be untouchable. Yip Man sees wildfire in the boy's gaze and agrees. Bruce trains until his knuckles split and reform as callous armor, until the wooden dummy bears scars that map his rage. Every street fight becomes a laboratory. He catalogs angles, reaction times, the precise torque needed to snap a radius bone into surrender. He studies cha-cha footwork to improve evasion, boxing jabs to sharpen entries, fencing lunges to weaponize distance. Traditionalists brand him a heretic. He wears the label like a crown forged in hellfire. By 18, he's a walking manifesto, a heretic with a $100 bill and a one-way ticket to revolution. He boards a steamer to Seattle, the ocean vast and indifferent, carrying a duffel of dreams and a philosophy that will shatter the world. Meanwhile, Guangzhou, 1946. A stocky child named Yang Zi hefts rice sacks heavier than his own body weight before the sun dares rise. Village masters drill him in classical hung guard tiger crane forms beneath ancient banyan trees whose roots clutch the earth like desperate fingers. He devours the curriculum with the hunger of a starving wolf, then stumbles across contraband bodybuilding magazines smuggled from Shanghai. The photos of Reg Park and Steve Reeves hit him like religious visions, gods with impossible physiques that mock gravity. Protein powder is a myth in post-war China. He improvises with raw eggs, condensed milk, and sheer desperation blended in a tin cup. By 20, he's Mr. Hong Kong. 10 consecutive years. Thighs measuring 30 inches of striated menace. A smile that promises ruin to anyone foolish enough to step into his shadow. Street performers dare him to crush coconuts with bare hands. He obliges, the crack echoing like gunshots, juice running down wrists thick as anchor chains. Cinema scouts lurk in the crowd, drooling at the human siege engine. Overnight, he's typecast. The villain too massive to be merely mortal, a walking eclipse. Speed against strength. Philosophy against power. Water against stone. A duel written in the stars long before either man knew the other's name. Bruce stands 5'8", 141 pounds of coiled whipcord and tempered lightning. Every ounce is functional, no decoration, no excess. His punches travel at 0.05 seconds, faster than the human eye's refresh rate. His side kick generates over 1,300 pounds of force, yet retracts before the target feels the full impact, a phantom that leaves only pain in its wake. Jeet isn't a style. is a relentless question whispered in the dark. What actually works right now against this opponent in this breath? Bolo is 5'6", 220 pounds of living sculpture. He can military press 400 pounds for reps, then transition seamlessly into tiger-form palm strikes that cave rib cages like cheap tin. His knees crush concrete. His elbows fracture jaws. His creed is primal, ancient, carved into the marrow of his bones. Asterisk, close the gap. Overwhelm. In it before it begins. Asterisk. On the Enter the Dragon set, the atmosphere crackles with unspoken challenge, a live wire dangling in a thunderstorm. Jim Kelly, fresh off the International Middleweight Karate Championship, watches Bruce demonstrate the 1-inch punch on a suspended board. The wood explodes 3 feet backward with a sound like a gunshot in a cathedral. Kelly's jaw unhinges. He forgets to blink, forgets to breathe. Bob Wall, 4th-degree karate black belt and enforcer for Chuck Norris, spars lightly with Beyond a Lookout during a lunch break. One blocked forearm strike leaves Wall's wrist numb for an hour and his ego bruised for days. A purple bloom spreading beneath the skin like spilled ink. Jackie Chan, still a teenage stuntman, nursing bruises from yesterday's 30-foot fall, hides behind equipment crates just to study Bruce's footwork. He swears the man's shadow lags half a beat behind his body, as if even darkness can't keep up. Sammo Hung, already a choreography prodigy with a belly that belies his speed, times Bolo's deadlifts between takes. The bar bends like wet bamboo under 600 pounds, metal screaming in surrender. Every extra, every grip, every boom, operator feels the tectonic tension. Something biblical is brewing, a storm that will either baptize or bury them all. Final week of principal photography. The cut is official, rubber-stamped in triplicate by terrified executives hiding behind mahogany desks and expense account martinis. Bolo's epic showdown, gone like a dream upon waking. Bruce storms the production office, script pages fluttering like battle standards in a hurricane. He unleashes a tirade in fluent English and Cantonese that peels paint from the walls and leaves the air tasting of ozone. "You're scared of truth," he snarls, voice low and lethal. "You want a cartoon villain? We'll give them reality they can't handle." The Warner suits stonewall him. "We need one clear antagonist. Han is the mountain. Streamline the narrative or the film dies." Bruce's laugh is a blade. "The film will live forever. Your fear won't." Bolo waits outside, a silent monolith, sweat tracing slow canyons down the ridges of his lats. His eyes betray nothing, but the pulse in his neck drums like war drums in a forgotten jungle. He has carried the weight of reduced roles before, but this cut feels personal, a theft of destiny. That night, the training area empties under a blood-red sunset. Floodlights dim to a single naked bulb swinging on a frayed cord, casting shadows that dance like demons. The air is thick with liniment, stale coffee, and the copper tang of anticipation. Cigarette smoke curls like incense around the ghosts of fights past. The mat, blue and scarred, waits like an altar. Bolo's voice rumbles across the emptiness, low enough to vibrate rib cages and rattle loose screws in the rafters. "Bruce. No cameras, no choreography, no tomorrow, just us, man to man, philosophy to power." Bruce's answer is a grin sharp enough to slice moonlight. He slips off his aviators with deliberate care, folds them like a sacred relic, and sets them on a crate like a gauntlet thrown into the dust of history. Finally, he whispers, voice husky with hunger, "Let's write the scene they were too cowardly to film. Let's show them what gods look like when they bleed." They square up beneath the lone bulb, two titans in a circle of light no wider than a grave. No gloves, no shin pads, just hand wraps stained with yesterday's blood and today's ambition, knuckles already whispering promises of pain. The temperature seems to drop 10 degrees as the space between them shrinks to nothing but intent. Bob Wall, standing in the shadows with a stopwatch and a prayer, claps once. The sound is crisp as a starter's pistol in a cathedral. The fight begins. Bruce explodes forward, low and serpentine, a blur of elbows and fingertips probing for openings like a surgeon's scalpel seeking the perfect incision. His footwork is liquid geometry, angles shifting faster than thought, each step rewriting the battlefield in real time. The mat creaks beneath his bare feet, a sound like old bones protesting. Bolo plants his feet like thousand-year oaks rooted in the earth's core, arms raised in impenetrable tiger guard, elbows flared, wrists cocked to crush skulls. His breath is a furnace blast, steady and terrible. First exchange, 30 seconds in. Bruce's lead leg side kick snaps into Bolo's outer thigh with a sound like a baseball bat meeting ancient oak. The impact echoes through the rafters, a gunshot in a confessional. Bolo's leg absorbs it, doesn't buckle an inch, answers instantly with a downward hammer fist that whistles past Bruce's ear and splinters the mat's edge into blue confetti that flutters like dying moths. The near miss ruffles Bruce's hair, carries the scent of sweat and iron. Bruce laughs, actually laughs, a sound bright and dangerous as breaking glass in a cathedral, and circles left, already rewriting the rules in his mind. His eyes never leave Bolo's, reading micro-twitch, weight shift, the flicker of intent before it becomes action. Minute 2. Bruce feints a finger jab to the eyes, a phantom that draws Bolo's guard high, then drops low and sweeps the support leg with a whisper of motion. Bolo hops the sweep with surprising grace for his mass, a mountain leaping a puddle, and counters with a knee strike that would dent a car hood into modern art. Bruce twists inside the arc, hair brushing the fabric of Bolo's shorts, already gone, a ghost that leaves only the promise of pain. Minute 3. Bruce peppers Bolo's lead arm with rapid, intercepting punches, each one a mosquito bite with the force of a bullet train. The impacts land in a staccato rhythm. Thup, thup, thup. Bolo's forearms swelling almost visibly under the assault, purple blooming beneath the skin like spilled wine. But Bolo smiles through it, a predator enjoying the hunt, teeth flashing white in the dim light. Minute 4. Bolo lunges forward like a freight train leaving the station, massive hands clawing for a Muay Thai clinch that would crush vertebrae into powder. Bruce slips the grasp like smoke through fingers, flows inside the reach, and palms the solar plexus thump. The sound is meaty, intimate, a lover's betrayal. Bolo exhales a grunt that rattles nearby light stands and sends dust spiraling from the rafters. For the first time, the mountain shifts half a step, a tectonic plate nudged by an earthquake. Minute 5. Sweat cascades in sheets. Bolo's chest heaves like industrial bellows in a dying factory. Bruce's breathing remains measured, almost meditative, the calm eye of a hurricane spinning at 200 miles per hour. He's reading Bolo now. Every micro-twitch, every shift of weight, every flicker of intent, like a maestro conducting an orchestra of violence. Minute 6. Bolo roars, a sound that shakes loose plaster from the ceiling, and commits to a spinning back fist that carries every ounce of his 220 pounds in a single apocalyptic arc. Bruce ducks under it at the last possible millisecond, the wind of the strike ruffling his hair like a lover's breath, and answers with a low shin kick that buckles Bolo's knee for a heartbeat, a crack in the foundation of a fortress. Minute 7. The first hint of fatigue creeps into Bolo's guard like poison in a vein. His elbows drop a fraction, a hairline fracture in armor. Bruce smells blood in the water and presses the attack with predatory grace. A flurry erupts, jab, cross, hook to the body, low kick, all landing with the crisp authority of a master calligrapher signing his name in Bolo's flesh. Each strike is a punctuation mark in a sentence that reads, "This is what efficiency looks like." Minute 8. Bolo surges forward in a last offensive wave, grabbing for a bare hug that would pulverize spines into dust. Bruce pivots on the ball of his foot, uses Bolo's momentum to spin him off balance like a matador with a charging bull, then unleashes a straight blast, for punches in the space of one heartbeat, each one drilling the same rib with surgical precision. The sound is a drum roll of impending surrender. Minute 9. Bolo's punches slow to 70% speed, each swing a plea for mercy disguised as violence. His guard sags like a sail in dying wind. Bruce circles like a shark in bloody water, conserving energy, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. His eyes never leave Bolo's, reading the story of exhaustion written in every bead of sweat. Minute 10, the turning point. Bolo's breathing is ragged, wet, desperate, a drowning man gasping for air that won't come. Bruce's remains even, almost conversational, the breath of a man sipping tea while the world burns. He feints left, draws the counter, then unleashes a torrent, jab, cross, hook, low kick, spinning back fist, each strike a signature in sweat, a love letter written in violence. The mat becomes a canvas, beyond the lookout, the unwilling masterpiece. Bolo swings wild, a haymaker fueled by pride and desperation and the last dregs of a titan's strength. It misses by inches, the wind of it stirring dust motes into frantic spirals. Bruce dances back, untouched, a matador who has already won, the bull bleeding but still defiant. Bolo raises one massive hand, palm open, fingers trembling. Enough. His voice is gravel poured over broken glass, pride intact, but his tank bone dry, lungs burning, muscles screaming for mercy they will not receive. The silence that follows is deafening, a cathedral after the organ stops. Bruce bows, deep, respectful, the bow of one warrior saluting another's courage under fire. No gloating, just truth etched in sweat and mutual respect. The bulb swings overhead, casting their shadows in a slow, solemn dance. Silence blankets the set like fresh snow. Then slow applause rises from the shadows. Jackie Chan, Sammo hung, Jim Kelly, Bob Wall, even a night security guard who pretended not to watch but couldn't look away. The sound builds, tentative at first, then thunderous, a standing ovation for a fight no audience was meant to see. Bolo wipes a trickle of blood from his lip with the back of a hand thick as a ham, nods once, eyes meeting Bruce's with something akin to brotherhood. Your way works, little brother. Water wears down the mountain after all. Bruce claps him on the shoulder, hard enough to echo like a gong in a temple, the sound reverberating through bone and soul. Your power scares the hell out of people, Bolo. That's its own weapon. Use it wisely, and the world will tremble. The aftermath ripples outward like a stone dropped in a still pond, waves that will reshape shorelines for decades. For Bolo Yeung, the fight was a crucible forged in hellfire. His raw power had always been his Excalibur, the blade that carved his legend, but 10 minutes against Bruce exposed the hidden cost, endurance. Carrying 220 pounds of muscle demands oceanic energy, and in prolonged combat, that ocean drains fast, leaving only desert. The knowledge burns, but it also illuminates. He never complains. Instead, he adapts with the discipline of a monk. Post-dash, asterisk, enter the dragon asterisk. Bolo incorporates interval training at dawn, road work through Kowloon's neon streets until his lungs scream, shadowboxing in abandoned lots until the sun bleeds red. He sheds 15 pounds of non-functional mass, gains cardiovascular capacity that lets him film fight scenes in single, takes well into his 50s, a phoenix rising from the ashes of defeat. The sparring session becomes his silent mentor, a ghost that whispers in every rep, every mile. Years later, over jasmine tea in a Kowloon tea house thick with incense and memory, he tells a young interviewer, "Bruce didn't beat me with strength. He beat me with time. I learned to make time my ally instead of my enemy." That was the real victory. For Bruce Lee, the fight was vindication incarnate, a sermon preached in sweat and delivered with fists. Jeet Kune wasn't theory scribbled in notebooks under candlelight. It was survival, proven in the crucible of another apex predator's reach. He never brags. He doesn't need to. The next day, he rewrites 3 fight sequences. Incorporating micro-adjustments, he discovered dodging Bolo's avalanche, angles refined in the heat of combat, timing honed to a razor's edge. 3 weeks later, July 20th, 1973, Bruce complains of a headache after dinner with Raymond Chow. He takes a painkiller, lies down for a nap at Betty Ting Pei's apartment, and slips into eternity. Cerebral edema. Age 32. The world reels, a planet tilted off its axis. Enter the Dragon premieres anyway, his final gift, a phoenix rising from its own ashes, wings spread wide across the sky. Bolo's reduced role becomes iconic in its brevity, every frame he occupies vibrating with the subtext to what almost was, every glare loaded with the memory of a private war that shook the heavens. And somewhere, in a forgotten corner of the Golden Harvest lot, the training mat still bears the scar of a hammer fist that missed its mark, a permanent autograph from a night when legends measured themselves against eternity and found the universe wanting. The fight no one filmed became the fight everyone remembers, a ghost story told in dojos from Shaolin to Sao Paulo. Speed didn't just win the day. It rewrote the periodic table of combat. Endurance trumped explosiveness. Adaptability devoured rigidity. 141 pounds of efficiency outlasted 220 pounds of intimidation. The lesson echoes through time. Build your body, yes, but forge your engine. Train not just to hit hard, but to hit last. To be the one still standing when the mountain crumbles. So tell me in the comments, could raw power ever evolve fast enough to bottle lightning? Or is the future of combat forever fluid, forever flowing? Drop your hottest take below. Like if you believe philosophy outweighs physique. Share this with the fighter in your life who needs to hear it. Subscribe and hit the bell to never miss a shadow of fame. Next week, the starlet who vanished mid-scene during a 1940s horror shoot, and the reel that developed itself in an empty darkroom, revealing a figure standing behind the camera that no one remembered inviting, a silhouette with eyes that burned straight through the celluloid. This is Tales of the Famous. The spotlight fades. The stories burn forever.